Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Harry Cohen. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Gwen Myers. Representing District 4, Christine Miller. Representing District 5, Donna Cameron Cepeda. Representing District 6, Chris Bowles. Representing District 7, Joshua Wostel. The County Administrator is Bonnie Wise. The County Attorney is Christine Beck. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. So we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday, June 18th, 2025 regularly scheduled board meeting of the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Gwen Myers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we come another day asking you to continue to give us grace, to continue to bless the things that we're doing here in Hillsborough County. Lord, I ask a special blessing for our Wade Boggs athletic achievements, these three young men. I also today ask for a special blessing for the state of Minnesota in the loss of their lawmakers and those that were injured this weekend. I also ask that you will lift up the late Councilwoman Gwen Henderson family as she was laid to rest. Lord, bless us and keep us. Bless our meeting, that the things that we would say will be pleasing to your sight. And we ask in your name that you would bless as the nation celebrate tomorrow a federal holiday called Juneteenth. We thank you for everything, and I ask in your holy name that you continue to bless us and allow us to ride back safely to our families. This I pray in your name, amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Myers, for that wonderful invocation. Today it's our pleasure to present the 2025 Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award. The board established this award in 2005 and to recognize the exemplary athletic, academic, and community service achievements of a high school baseball player or team in Hillsborough County. I was on the board when we created this many moons ago, and as a former high school baseball player in Hillsborough County, it's been my honor to present this award ever since. Those who win this award are sterling examples of drive and leadership, not just in their sport, but throughout their daily lives. And now I want to introduce a very special guest. The namesake of the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award is a National Baseball Hall of Fame member, 12-time All-Star, and a longtime local resident who graduated from Plant High School and has coached at Wharton. Wade Boggs had an incredible 3,010 hits in his 18-year career in Major League Baseball. He played for the Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, and the then Tampa Bay Devil Rays, where he finished his career. The Rays retired his number 12 in 2000, and 9 years ago, the Red Sox retired his number 26. We're very proud to call him one of our own. I'm very proud to call him a good friend, and pleased to have him here this morning. Wade, welcome. Please come on up. Wade, thank you for being here. For everything you do in our community, including supporting high school baseball in Hillsborough County, especially with this award. Before you get started, would you like to say a few things to our student athletes?
Sure. Good morning. I want to thank the county commissioners for allowing us time in your busy schedule to recognize these fine young men, not only for their achievements on the baseball field, but their contributions to the community. I look forward to this award each and every year. I want to congratulate the parents too. I commend the job that you do. It's not easy in these times raising children, but the parents are a reflection of what these young men are. And to my committee, I give you that daunting task every year to pick that diamond out of the rough, and you do it each and every year. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And to the nominees, you're the cream of the crop. We've had so many fine, outstanding young men to receive this award, and 2 are playing in the big leagues right now, Pete Alonso and Kyle Tucker. So congratulations to each and every one of you, and sky's the limit, reach for the stars. Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Now I'd like to thank all the members of the selection committee who reviewed the nominations and recommended this year's honorees. Please stand if you're with us today. They're Tampa City Councilman Charlie Miranda, Anthony Tony Bell, Ruben Cuesta, Kaylar Lombardia, Cater KB Skoll, Philip Gubser, and Pep Prado. And I don't see him here today, but we have Wade's nominee, Hillsborough County's Mr. Baseball, Tony Saladino. Thank you, each and every one of you, for putting in the time to recommend these outstanding student athletes. Every year, the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award grows in prestige thanks to the numerous talented high school baseball programs in Hillsborough County. This year, to the overall winner, the committee once again selected 2 honorable mention recipients whom we will now recognize. Will the following individuals please join me at the podium? Head coach Spencer Nunez and assistant coach Ramses Gonzalez of Jefferson High School, and Cash Strayer and coach Dennis Braun from Plant High School. Due to a prior commitment, Jamarcus Benton of Jefferson could not be here today. His coaches are accepting the award on his behalf. As a 4-year starter at Jefferson, for the Jefferson Dragons, Jamarcus has grown into an outstanding young man. His athletic achievements include being a state semifinalist, a regional champion and MVP, a 2-time district champion, and a 2-time All-Western Conference player. This season, Jamarcus hit .306 with 4 doubles, 1 home run, and 16 runs batted in, and he scored 22 runs and stole 22 bases. A pitcher and outfielder, Jamarcus leads by example and experience. He volunteers his time with younger athletes frequently, helping them to reach their full potential. In addition, he mows the lawns of others who are unable. In his time at Jefferson, Jamarcus has overcome some challenges and learned how to balance baseball and academics, developing into the excellent student athlete he is today. As a result, he's eager to share his experience with younger athletes, helping them grow as players, students, and individuals. Jamarcus' personal growth, 3.2 GPA, and skills on the field earned him a Division I scholarship to Florida A&M, a tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations to Jamarcus on being named a 2025 Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement nominee. And Coach Nunez, you want to say a few words, and then we'll follow with Coach Gonzalez.
Good morning. On behalf of Jamarcus and his family, I want to thank Wade Boggs and everyone on the committee for this incredible honor. Congratulations to Cash and Jordan on great high school careers as well. Jamarcus couldn't be here today. He and his family are at orientation at FAMU. At Jefferson, he was a 4-year starter. He is what we call a silent leader. He set the example on the field, off the field, and in the classroom. He was never a big talker, and I don't think I heard him raise his voice in all 4 years. Jamarcus is a great kid and will continue to do great things in life. Thank you.
And now Cash Strayer, a center fielder who has also played shortstop. Cash was Plant High School's team MVP in both 2025 and 2024. This past season, he hit .389 with 35 hits, 8 home runs, 6 doubles, and drove in 21 runs. Further, he scored 39 runs, breaking the Panthers' single-season record, which is remarkable. Cash was a major force behind 3 district-winning teams, 2 regional championships, a Saladino tournament championship, 2 Final Four appearances, and a state runner-up. Cash, who wants to be an engineer and play professional baseball, is a natural leader who has been the main engine behind the most successful 4-year span in Coach Braun's 21 years at Plant. In addition, he volunteers at University of Tampa baseball camps, helps feed the homeless through his church every year, and is greatly admired by his teachers at Plant, where he graduated with a cumulative 6.0 GPA. Cash will attend the University of Florida, go Gators, to continue his education and play baseball. Cash, what an outstanding year and career you had at Plant. I'm sure you'll keep up the great work in Gainesville, continuing the great Panthers who came before you, who are Gators. From a former UF baseball player to a soon-to-be Gator baseball player, congratulations on being on Wade Boggs' honorable mention.
First, I'd like to thank my mom and dad for always supporting me throughout my whole life. I'd like to thank all my coaches, especially Coach Braun, for pushing me every day and teaching us how to love the game and play it the right way. And lastly, I'd like to thank God for blessing me with the opportunity to play this game. And thank y'all.
All right, buddy. Here you go.
Jordan Yost of Sickles High School couldn't join us today due to a scheduling conflict. Coach McCaffrey's here to accept the award on Jordan's behalf. Good morning and welcome. Jordan is a tremendous student athlete and a remarkable young man for numerous reasons. And I know this personally because I'm very good friends with his grandfather, Frank Hayden. He just finished a fantastic season, an amazing career at Sickles. On the season, he batted an astounding .420 with 4 home runs, 42 hits, and 26 runs batted in, and scored a whopping 42 runs. In addition, he stole 28 bases and struck out just once, which is incredible. All this in 34 games, and get this, in his last 2 seasons, he only struck out twice. That's incredible. In fact, I think that's might be Wade Boggs territory right there, buddy. This is one of the most amazing stats that I've ever seen. Jordan holds 2 Sickles records for most hits in a career and most runs scored. As an aside, if I'm starting a team, Jordan is definitely my #1 pick. His remarkable talents have earned him numerous accolades. He's been first-team Western Conference for 2 years and is a 2025 Florida Athletic Coaches Association's Player of the Year and an All-Star. And he's a true scholar athlete, graduating with an unweighted GPA of 3.98 and a weighted 5.9. Jordan is the Sickles Scholar Athlete Award winner for 2024-25, earning principals and honor roll selections for 3 and 4 years, respectively. His community service includes 50 hours of volunteering in a food pantry serving food to the homeless, 75 hours spent mentoring other players at Keystone Baseball Camp, and was a captain for the Sickles baseball team's family adoptions for the holidays. He possesses an outstanding work ethic, is a fantastic teammate, and leads by example. He's driven to be great at everything he does. Jordan has accepted a full scholarship to the University of Florida, but first, he's expected to be selected high in the upcoming Major League draft. In fact, that's the reason why he couldn't attend today's ceremony, is that he's attending the MLB Draft Combine in Arizona. Jordan has been awarded the 2025 Saladino Award, another prestigious honor, and he is strongly deserving recipient of the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award. He epitomizes the criteria that the award is designed to recognize excellence in all aspects of student athletes. Congratulations to Jordan on being the 19th recipient of this award. Coach, would you like to say a few words? Is he here? Nope.
Congratulations. Nice to see you.
Good morning. I'm here today to accept this award for Jordan Yost. Like he said, he unfortunately couldn't be here today. He's out at the Combine in Arizona getting ready for next month's draft. A few things about Jordan that people don't know. He's such an incredible, incredible kid. When I first came on the staff at Sickles, I was impressed as everyone else was at his baseball talent, but he is the definition of a true leader, and I'm very thankful today to be here to accept this for him. He sent me a text that he wants me to read to everyone. I'm extremely honored to be this year's Wade Boggs Award recipient. I am sorry that I could not be there in person, but grateful that one of my coaches is able to accept the award for me. First, thank you to my coaches over the years that have shown me the right way to play this game. I also want to thank my family for showing me real faith looks like and how to believe in myself. I look forward to my future in baseball and using all the skills that I have learned so far to be the best version of myself. Thank you to the awards committee and Wade Boggs for allowing me to be a small part of the larger role you guys play regarding high school baseball in the area. Thank you again for this award, and go Griffins.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it.
And thank you, and once again, congratulations to Jordan. So now we'll take a couple photos here real quick, and we'll wind things up.
Two ladies.
Nice to see you. Congratulations. Enjoy Florida. You're going to love it.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Again, thank you to everybody. Each of these honorees have contributed a great deal to their teams, schools, and communities. More fantastic accomplishments are sure to come. So this concludes the Wade Boggs Athletic Achievement Award presentation. Thank you. All right, before I pass things over to Bonnie to review the change of the agenda, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda is under the weather today, and she's participating virtually. Bonnie?
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. We have one item for board consideration. This is pursuant to Rule 13 of Rules of Order. This is by Commissioner Hagan. It's item F2. This will be heard at 9:45. It is to move the Commission to waive the board's Rules of Order 12, 13, and 24 and the BOC's draft of ordinances policy to approve an emergency ordinance pertaining to the Hospital Direct Payment Program. We have two items that are deferred to July 16th. The first one is A41 regarding the compliant fax solution for HIPAA matters. The second one is item B2 pursuant to board policy to approve the artist's rendition for artwork at the roundabout at Durant Road, Little Road, and Dover Road. We have several items for time certain, but first we have one consent item that is moved from consent. This is by Commissioner Hagan. Item A27 is direct staff to schedule and advertise a public hearing for July 16th, 2025 to consider approval of the special assessment resolution and assessment roll relating to the Hospital Direct Payment Program for fiscal year 26. Our time certain items are as follows. Item F2 at 9:45 by Commissioner Hagan to move the Commission to waive the board's rules of order to approve an emergency ordinance pertaining to the Hospital Direct Payment Program. Item D1 at 10 o'clock is to conduct a public hearing and adopt an ordinance repealing the Hope Affordable Housing Act. Item D2 at 10 o'clock is to conduct a public hearing to consider the recommendations of a hearing officer and the Emergency Medical Planning Council, and to authorize a waiver is requested by the University of South Florida's Medical Response Unit. 11:45 is a recess for lunch. Those are the changes to the agenda.
Can we have a motion to approve the changes?
Move approval.
Motion, Commissioner Myers, second Commissioner Wolstel. Please record your vote on changes to the agenda.
Cepeda?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, now we'll go into the public comment portion of the agenda. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issue or concern. Your opinions are valued in terms of providing valuable input to board members. However, it is requested at the same time when you address the board, the comments are not made directly at commissioners or staff, but rather the issues. The board has set aside 45 minutes for public comment this morning. The chair will call on speakers by name in the order in which the request to speak have been received. When addressing the board, please state your name, speak clearly in the microphone. The first three speakers this morning, Denise Herndon, followed by Reverend Brian Scott, and then Joanna Weiss.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we waive the rules so they have 2 minutes to speak?
That'll be in the public hearing.
Okay.
So yeah, please come forward. Good morning, Ms. Herndon.
Good morning. I'm Denise Herndon. I'm going to be on some people's naughty and nice list today. I'm here to speak about the Grace Point. I agree with this money being spent, but I wonder if Grace Point and several other drug rehabs that Hillsborough County is investing in actually check for systemic yeast also. I found out years ago from a drug counselor in Pinellas County that that's an issue also, not just emotional issue. They have something going on in their body. Some people know that heroin addicts, when they come down, they're craving sugar. You see them eating a lot of just raw sugar. And you know that about alcoholics, so I wonder if they're doing that. We're in a situation in our country where money isn't so good for some people. And is there any celebration for the Native Americans that the Pilgrims and settlers took their land from? I understand that the slaves were brought over here, but they aren't black, they're brown, and they're not from Africa, their descendants are. And we celebrate a lot of days for Black history, Black women, and now Juneteenth. Martin Luther King, who believed in peaceful not to segregate. What we're doing is segregating people. The same thing with LGBTQ. It's when you have to have months long worth of celebrating, but our veterans only get 1 day of celebration, who fought for our country and died for our country and who are maimed for our country. But all these other people, and like I said, the Native Americans, we don't celebrate them at all. We have little parks, but there is not 1 day in our country that is celebrated for them. So we need to really think, why are we segregating these people? Because we all bleed the same. There's no difference. We all bleed the same. And I am not a racist. Some people may think I am, but when you start segregating, that's where you really get the racists to start coming out. So just a food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Reverend Brian Scott, followed by Joanna Weiss and John Corus. I don't see Reverend Brian. So Joanna Weiss. And followed by John Corus and then Colleen Ernst. Good morning.
Good morning. Joanna Weiss, Moffitt Cancer Center. I'm the Chief Financial Officer. I appreciate you taking this agenda item. We're at a crossroads in the alignment of federal, state, and county actions to preserve critical access funding in support of the services provided by not only Moffitt Cancer Center, but every hospital in Hillsborough County. Without time-sensitive emergency action, thank you, by the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners, we stand to lose the opportunity to access state-authorized federal matching dollars in support of our safety net healthcare services and specifically access to cancer care. We respectfully ask for your favorable support of our request to take action on this matter for the motion to approve an emergency ordinance on the directed payment program to be heard on June 30th. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weiss. John Corus, followed by Colleen Ernst, and then Carrie Eisenbeis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name's John Corus. I'm the president and CEO of Tampa General. TGH has been a longtime partner with the county in providing primary care as well as tertiary and quaternary care services to the residents of Hillsborough County. This partnership is facilitated through our collaboration with the Board of County Commissioners and the University of South Florida, Morsani College of Medicine, and USF Health. Last year, Tampa General provided $238 million in unreimbursed indigent care costs from Medicaid Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan, and Charity Care patients. As the largest provider of indigent care services in Hillsborough County, TGH is significantly affected by changes in federal and state policy that could impact future funding needed to subsidize these critical services. We are currently at a crossroads where federal, state, and county actions must align to preserve critical access funding for services provided by TGH and every hospital in Hillsborough County. Without timely and emergent action by the Hillsborough Board of County Commissioners, hospitals may lose the opportunity to access state-authorized federal matching dollars for our safety net healthcare services. Unfortunately, this issue extends beyond a single year and could limit these valuable assessment dollars indefinitely. The assessment dollars support DPP, directed payment programs, which has been essential to addressing the chronic Medicaid shortfall in Florida over the past few years. It is important to note that assessments supporting DPP are funded solely by the providers themselves and do not incur any cost for taxpayers of Hillsborough County. Without emergency action and waiving of rules, there's a risk that the time needed to implement the necessary changes may expire. This could place our county at a disadvantage compared to the over 25 other local government jurisdictions in Florida that will have adopted similar measures by July 4th. TGH values its partnership with the Board of County Commissioners and appreciates its assistance on this critical matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Corus. Appreciate your comments. Colleen Ernst, followed by Carrie Eisenbeis and Chris Sauter. Good morning.
Good morning. Colleen Ernst on behalf of the hospitals here in Hillsborough County. Thank you for your time this morning and my compliments to your staff. Your staff has worked tirelessly to prepare this item on this basis, and we thank you for all of your engagement. This item has been before the board several times. This time it's a little early, but this is a program through which your hospitals are able to continue providing care to all citizens of Hillsborough, regardless of income. This is a program in which the hospitals are the only ones affected by the rate resolution you would adopt at an upcoming meeting. That rate resolution imposes a special assessment on them only, not passed along to patients, not burdening any other citizen or business in the county, and it ensures that they can sustain their mission of care. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ernst. Carrie Eisenbeis, followed by Chris Sauter and Matthew King. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners and county staff. I want to echo the thanks for pulling this item and dealing with it on an emergency basis. It's very important. My name is Carrie Eisenbeis. I'm the chief of staff at Baycare Health System. Baycare appreciates the commission adding this emergency ordinance today. It really reflects the time-sensitive nature of amending the ordinance to allow the provider community, all of us, to continue to fully access these critical directed payment program dollars through the existing local provider participation fund structure. On behalf of Baycare and our 6 hospitals in Hillsborough, St. Joseph's Women's, Children's, St. Joseph's North and South Florida Baptist, and Plant City, we are committed to continuing to provide care to those that are unfunded, uninsured, and on Medicaid. Last year, Baycare provided over $272 million in care that was for the Medicaid population where we operated at a loss, and that includes the directed payment dollars. So this access to the DPP funds is really, really critical. We get approximately 54% on the dollar in terms of Medicaid reimbursement, which is very challenging. Vital dollars from DPP, or the Directed Payment Program, help us bridge this Medicaid shortfall, as others have mentioned. That is true for Baycare as well, and it allows us to continue to provide those services that operate at a loss, like behavioral health services and pediatric services. Baycare is the largest provider of behavioral health and pediatric services in this region, and it's very important that we have these dollars to continue to do that. Thank you for your consideration, and again, thank you for pulling this item on an emergency basis today.
Thank you, Ms. Eisenbeis. Chris Sauter, followed by Matthew King, and then Chris Kahn. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Hagan and honorable members of the Commission. My name is Chris Sauter. I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Advent Health Carrollwood. I'm here today representing all of the hospitals, all of the Advent Health hospitals in Hillsborough County, to express our support for the rate resolution you are considering today. This program generates critically needed funds to support hospitals in Hillsborough County. Over 17% of the patients we serve at Advent Health Tampa and Carrollwood are Medicaid patients, and these funds provide us with the ability to meet the growing needs of our underserved community and to provide high-quality care to patients. On behalf of Advent Health, thank you. The support of the Commission and the county staff has played a key role in its success, and we value the opportunity to work together on this important initiative.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Matthew King, followed by Chris Kahn, and then the last speaker will be James Brewer. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew King. I am the Chief Financial Officer of HCA Florida Brandon Hospital. In the sake of not being redundant, I agree with all of my predecessors' comments. I think the only thing I want to reiterate is, a lot of times we talk about healthcare costs and we focus on the consumer, but we also are impacted as providers. And as someone just mentioned, we typically receive around 60 cents on the dollar for our Medicaid work. And so we're not here asking for any additional cents from you all, and we are not here with an ultimatum, if not this, then that. We're just here to lend our support behind this assessment because it allows us to continue to reinvest in our facilities and make sure we're providing the care that our communities need. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. King. Chris Kahn. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm Chris Kahn. I'm the CFO at HCA Florida South Tampa Hospital. And again, I won't reiterate what everybody else has already said, and I agree with my colleague Matt. 60 cents on the dollar, and this agenda really helps us close the gap in the funding between the costs of Medicaid care and our reimbursement. So we appreciate everything you guys do and the support of this program. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Last speaker this morning, James Brewer. Is Mr. Brewer here? Okay, that closes the public comment. Can we have a motion to approve the consent?
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Wostel, second, Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote on consent agenda.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Bonnie, you want to introduce the first item?
Yes, the first item is item B1. This is to approve a change order regarding various resurfacing projects, and Josh Bellotti is here to present this item.
Morning, Josh.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Bellotti, Engineering and Operations Department. This item is a change order to the work order construction contract with Hubbard Construction Company for roadway repaving, adding an additional year to the contract term and an additional capacity of $28 million. As we know, the county has recently received over $200 million in funding from the Florida State Legislature allocated for state-determined repaving projects to be completed within 5 years. The county's strategy of utilizing this existing work order contract for completion of select projects from that list will enable us to accelerate their completion so that we can stay on track with that aggressive timeline. This contractor has been successful in their completion of projects assigned to date and has exceeded their MBE participation goal. Staff recommends approval of this item, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thanks, Josh. Commissioner Wostel.
Thank you for this. I just wanted to point out that for years, this board told the public there was no money for repaving projects and sidewalk repairs, but consistently since 2022, we have proven that the money is there, and I applaud this board for finding it as we continue to repair critical infrastructure in the county, and I will move for approval of this contract.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Wostel, second, Commissioner Miller. Please record your vote on B1.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Next item.
Thank you. We can go to board appointments, item F1, and I believe Glenda's coming out here for that item. You have board appointments to 3 boards for consideration.
Good morning, Commissioners. The first board for appointment will be the Hillsborough Dutch Liaison Committee.
Mr. Chair?
Yep, Commissioner Bowles.
Is it appropriate for me to make a short comment about the committees before we vote on them? In so much that I have a problem with the makeup of our applicants at the moment.
Please go ahead.
we have basically two types of applicants to choose from. We had six specialties that we advertised for. It really doesn't, in my opinion, provide the diversity that maybe we need to have on that committee when 7 of them are IT specialists and the other 6 are, quote, financial professionals, and that's a very broad description of what that may be. We don't have any HR professionals. We don't have a true accountants on there, et cetera. And I think that, or someone who's with auditing, that at the very least, I'd like to proffer a motion to postpone this another 4 weeks to open back up so that we can have some more diversity in the groups that we're looking at. I don't think it hurts anything. The governor's not breathing down our neck to have this done right now. We've complied with any of the requests that have come from Tallahassee. I just think that if we're going to do this, that we should do it with at least another opportunity to open it up for other individuals to be placed on that.
Okay, and I would just say that it's not unheard of for us to re-advertise board appointments when we're not 100% satisfied with what we have in front of us. Certainly, I think you make a good point regarding diversity, and as long as there's not a sense of urgency in order to get them on board, if we have the luxury of time, then I don't see a downside. Commissioner Wostel.
Thanks. I just wanted to know what the cost, how much do we spend to re-advertise? Do we have to put it in a newspaper and pay for ads?
Communication department actually is the one that handles that, and we post the re-advertisement on the website as well.
Do we spend money on that, Bonnie?
I think it's probably pretty minimal because a lot of it is electronic. But
So we don't have to pay for ads in newspapers? We don't send mailers out or anything?
I don't think we send mailers out. I'm just looking to see if anybody
It's just because
can answer that. I think I
it's
don't
the
know the amount.
Doge. It's the Doge item about efficiency.
spending money.
So I don't want to continue to be inefficient and spend money on advertising if people weren't motivated to apply the first time.
Yeah, I think so much of it is electronic. Anybody?
It is. We use our website to advertise, and then there's some communications that the communication department will send to newspapers just to let them know of the opening of boards and the recruitment.
I just don't know that you're going to get to where you want. Public engagement is painfully low. Before we got here, the board spent like $1.1 million marketing, but not marketing their attempt at the 2022 All for Transportation renewal at the board level, and they got like less than 1% of the population to engage after spending $1 million on advertising for that. So
I would, if I may respond, I would never encourage spending anywhere near that amount. If we spend $50 on an ad in a column, that'd be one thing. But just given, I'm looking at, if you look at my highlights here, the green and the pink, there's 2 categories of people, and we have many more that we have advertised for. And to be perfectly honest, while I think that the financial professionals are qualified in finance, but they're not auditors, they're not necessarily accountants or CPAs. And I would really encourage anybody out there who's listening to the meeting today to, if you're an auditor, CPA, accountant, human resource specialist, to please put your application, if this passes and it moves forward. I don't think 4 weeks is going to hurt per se, but that's where I'll leave it.
All right, Commissioner Miller, then Commissioner Cameron Cepeda, then we're going to vote.
My question is directed at you, Ms. Wise. Have we had any further contact from the governor's office? Do you see anything that would preclude us from honoring this request by Commissioner Bowles?
So just to follow up real quickly, I did get some information. We do a release, and it doesn't cost us really anything. We are compliant with the request that has come in, and they did ask for quite a bit of information, which we have provided to the governor's office, and we have not heard back. So as of now, there's not really an active request for any
So
information.
nothing pressing that would stop us from
Correct.
delay. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda?
Yes, so it's already been advertised, and these are the people that are interested. And I personally believe we should vote on this today because these are the people that were interested. And I don't believe just additional, advertising for only 4 weeks is make a difference. I believe these are really the people interested, and personally, I believe we should just go ahead and vote on this today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the motion is to re-advertise. 4 weeks is our July 16th meeting, if that's okay. And then any other direction you want to give, just to re-advertise and encourage folks from other disciplines to apply. Okay, so that's a motion. Commissioner Bowles, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Commissioner Miller. Okay, please record your vote.
No.
Motion carries 4-3. Commissioners Cameron Cepeda, Myers, and Wostel voted no.
Okay. Next appointment.
Okay, next appointment is the Historic Preservation Challenge Grant Review Committee. We have 3 positions opened. I want to make a point that applicant number 15 is also a candidate to the Tampa Sport Authority. If he gets selected for this board, then his application will not proceed for the Tampa Sport Authority. This board is to consider the numbers of terms an applicant has served on a board and may give preference to applicants that have not served on the board. Applicants number 16 and 17 have served already 2 terms on this board. So, Commissioner Hagan,
16, 17, 18.
Commissioner Miller,
Sorry, 16, 17, 18.
Commissioner Myers,
16, 17, 18.
Commissioner Cohen,
16, 17, 18.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda,
16, 17, and 18.
Commissioner Bowles,
16, 17, and 18.
Commissioner Wostel.
16, 17, 18.
Okay, so we have 16, 17, and 18 for the Historic Preservation Challenge Grant Review Committee. The next board is the Tampa Sport Authority. We have 2 positions that will expire in June 30th. Applicant number 22 currently serves on another board, and he has been advised that if he is selected for this board, he will have to resign for his current board. The board is to consider the number of terms that an applicant has served on the board and may give preference to those who have not served. Applicant number 26 has served 1 term on this board. Commissioner Hagan, please choose 2.
21 and 26.
Commissioner Miller,
21, 22.
Commissioner Myers,
20 and 26.
Commissioner Cohen,
21 and 26.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda,
21 and 26.
Commissioner Bowles,
21 and 26.
Commissioner Wostel,
21 and 22.
okay, number 21 and 26.
Can we have a motion to confirm?
Move for approval.
Motion, Commissioner Myers.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Cepeda,
Yes.
Sir, I have one question.
motion carries 6-1. Commissioner Wostel voted no.
Commissioner Miller.
I did have one question. Do the folks that have already applied for the Doge Committee, will they be instructed to reapply or their applications stand? Could you clarify that for the record, please?
Yes, I will keep the applications that we currently have, and then once the new people submit the application, I will add that to the pool of applicants that we currently have.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, Bonnie?
Thank you. Perfect timing, Commissioners. We can now move to item F2, which is your 9:45 time certain, regarding waiving the rules of order regarding the hospital direct payment program. Commissioner Hagan, your item.
I thank you. Board members, today I'm bringing forward this matter that we heard considerable concerns about during public comment for your consideration that I believe is time-sensitive and potentially devastating to our area hospitals. Currently, the U.S. Senate is reviewing a bill that, if passed and enacted, will hamper our hospitals from accessing federal supplemental payments for services provided to Medicaid patients. This will curtail any opportunity to close the gap between reimbursement rates versus the actual cost of care. While I don't have the actual amount of money at risk, I've been advised it's well into the hundreds of millions of dollars. What's needed to reduce the loss of access to federal funds is for us to accept the hospital-directed payment program assessment roles as soon as possible. At this time, over 20 counties and municipalities across Florida are scheduled to take similar action between now and July 4th. I've worked with the county administrator and the county attorney exploring our legal options to alter our public notification processes. Essentially, what we've come up with is the enactment of an emergency ordinance provided under Florida state law authorizing the needed changes. If the board by a four-fifths majority votes to proceed, we will eliminate the use of print media as a notification medium and shorten the notice period from 20 days to at least 5 days. Positive action today will allow us to hold a public hearing and vote on the assessment rolls 2 weeks sooner than our current ordinance allows. The longer we wait, the greater the risk to our hospitals. A lack of action on our part could prove to be too little, too late. So just to be clear, our action today does not eliminate the need for a public hearing to consider the approval of the hospital-directed payment program. It just allows us to hold the public hearing sooner. This moment, I just want to thank the executives that came here this morning during public comment, who shared their comments and concerns. I know some of them have remained here if the board members have any questions. Now I'd like to ask Ms. Beck if she can just confirm the legality, I guess, of what we're proposing here. And I want to thank Christine's office and Bonnie's staff for working closely on this.
Yes, Mr. Chair, everything you said is absolutely correct, and this is specifically authorized by Florida law in Chapter 125.66 for this type of situation. I believe there is record evidence that's been provided by the hospitals to justify the board's action, and you're correct, it would take a 4/5 vote.
Okay. This time I'm going to pass the gavel to the vice chair. I'm going to read a motion. Again, this has been prepared by the county attorney's office. I move to waive the board's rules of order 12, 13, and 24 in the board's draft of ordinances policy 0.9 or 09.13.01.00 to approve an emergency ordinance pertaining to the hospital-directed payment program. And I further move per Florida Statute 125.664 to waive by a 4/5 vote the ordinance enactment public hearing 10-day notice publication requirement contained in Florida Statute 125.662A and enact the emergency ordinance for the primary purpose of revising the notice requirements for the annual hospital-directed payment program assessment public hearing so that notice will be solely by first-class mail to local hospitals that pay the assessment, and the timeline for mailing the notice will be reduced from at least 20 days to at least 5 calendar days before the public hearing. Finally, I move we withdraw agenda item 827 and direct staff to schedule a public hearing for Tuesday, July 1, 2025 at 9 a.m. to consider approval of an assessment resolution and assessment roll for the hospital-directed payment program for fiscal year 26.
Second.
You got to call the vote.
My apologies. We have a we have a motion by Commissioner Hagan and a second by Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Great. Thank you, board members, and thank you to all the hospital executives who came down this morning to share their concerns. Okay, Bonnie, next item.
Thank you. We have a few minutes before our 10 o'clock, so let's go to item G1. This is to receive a report on the surplus county property analysis. John Mueller is here to present this item. He has Cheryl Howell in the audience and Greg Horwedel if needed.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, board. I'm conscious of the time, so I'll try to do this in 8-9 minutes or less. Can I have the slide up, please? Okay, so our report today was a request to analyze our properties and identify sources of funding for fire rescue roads and sidewalks. We will brief that, but have included some additional property analysis to give context to the request. So in general, our properties are assigned to a department or use. When we have no long-term or strategic value, we can request the board to surplus the property. That surplus property could be sold, offered, exchanged. I just want to note that we do have a third property we call unassigned. To summarize this, when the use of a property stops, we don't always immediately sell it for obvious reasons. We want to analyze our best use. For example, if we can fill that very long capital program's new construction need by moving another use into a property and take those dollars off the CIP list by leveraging what we own, we do that today. So for context, when I mention properties, I am referring to folios or what you see on the property appraiser website. A county location or site may have one or more several folios. The county has over 3,000 folios, over 60,000 acres, and has property interest in 22,000 plus acres of ELAP or some other properties where we have a reverter that could come back to us in the future. Again, for context, there's really no surprises here. If you took the folios by district without the ELAP Kelm land, they generally align with size. Most of the ELAP is in District 4. We also own a small amount of property in neighboring counties. So, to answer the staff report question posed, we have an estimated $2.2 million in properties that we see as surplus. $500,000 are what we call private sales. Bid sale, what you see down there is the 33 properties, are parcels which are buildable. Please keep in mind that any sales are a minimum 2-step process. We wouldn't do that without coming to you first to ask for you to surplus the property and then tell you very clearly how we would offer or sell it. And then, of course, we would come back to you with any final sales contracts. Now, for RFPs or other offerings which involve an exchange, we'll include probably another step where we're giving you our intended offering. So I'll mention that because you can see on there you have another, I'll call it another offering, a Spruce Street parcel in Tampa. It's got an estimated value of over $2 million and really should be considered for an offering that maximizes return and value. There is interest in the property. It's adjacent to the City of Tampa's maintenance site, ongoing developments in the West Shore area. So this would be an example of something that we could leverage for future value. It is a former landfill. We would be looking to sell it as is, and I would note that the adjacent Busansky Senior Center and the Lincoln Carver Community Building are not included in that. So where I'm going to continue on here for context is, here's how we in the real estate in the county try to really leverage the generation of funds when you talk about how do we get funds or what we can do for fire stations, roads. So you can see that right now, and this board that sits here today has really approved all of these. You can see the top 3 there. Those are all, that's a total of over $70 million in value, property value currently in play. So those objectives include increasing ad valorem, sales tax, or other revenue, either by creating economic activity or creating community benefits. So when we have a larger parcel or property, yes, there are times where you do an outright sale. There's other times where you want to take a look at how can we get an ongoing stream of revenue. So, and I want to caution on this slide, this is not a tomorrow sale. I was just giving you a snapshot of some of the things we look at. We're constantly looking at our properties as to what's coming down. The departments talk to us of what their needs are, what their needs aren't. So you can see a list here. There's probably about 60-plus acres here. You have Children's Services, which, of course, that model changed. The DCF has taken over most of the responsibilities there. We continue with the SINS-FINS programming, so they don't need as big of a footprint. So we're taking a look at what's the best use in the future for that. You've got some outlier parcels, and then we're holding on to a large parcel. Really, with the growth that's happening in East County, there's a parcel, because of some factors situated, that's really going to make a really good use, probably when I'm gone, but for Public Works and PUD, we've got to think that far ahead, or we won't be able to put those services in place very easily as the county grows. So again, point there is, let's look at things from a long-term perspective. So the other large holder of real estate behind us, of course, is the Affordable Housing Department. So if you look over at the map, you can see there's 47 affordable housing properties. That map will show you kind of a breakdown of where they are around the county. Now, on this presentation, I mentioned that 3 of those properties, 33 acres, we did get neighborhood stabilization program funding from the feds, from HUD, to purchase those. So those are pretty much locked in. Those are locked into affordable housing projects. Now, the county does own 44 surplus properties, about 86.39 acres, which we acquired. We acquired them either by escheatment, we purchased them, maybe not necessarily for that purpose, but for another purpose that didn't come to fruition. And I'll note that 2 of them were acquired using HOPE funds as well with that program. So I give you the list there, but I do want to mention a couple of them. So there is one property, Sheldon Road. It's on the affordable housing list, but it really has great potential for mixed use and workforce housing. Again, the board can direct on any offering or RFP to include all, some, or none of affordable housing property if it's under real estate's control. The other one I'm going to mention there, I think the Morris Bridge Road site, which is a large one, 57 acres, it really was very well intentioned at the time. It was placed into the affordable housing's inventory with, hey, let's look at this for potential military veterans, the lower junior ranking enlisted men's offering. But the reality of that site is that it is very difficult to develop any density on there. So I just note that. We know there's challenges with it, again, well-intentions. And I do know that our affordable housing is looking at all the outlying parcels. They're trying to work on something where they group them together. That's my presentation for the analysis, but let me give you some final considerations. So we obviously could come back and look at those private sale properties and those bid sale parcels and start to look at those. I do want to note, I'm going to do absolutely one last check on the bid sale parcels, because given Milton, given Helene, some of those smaller parcels really could be pump sites for stormwater or vacuum station sites if PUD or PW needs those. So we're going to absolutely check with them before we come back to you on those as well. Then I do think, and I'm going to thank Commissioner Wastel for this exercise. It has been very interesting as we've gone through all our properties and really looked at it. And we'd like to continue that. We think we need to take these, the larger parcels, and really come back with a plan for those with, again, as I mentioned before, let's look first at our long-term strategic value of how we can leverage that. We know what the list is. We know we need the revenues. How can we leverage those in the long term to get that? And I did put the affordable housing ones up there. Either, another thing to consider is either in conjunction with our report or a separate report to perhaps include that analysis as well. Questions?
Thank you for their presentation, John. Well done.
Yes.
Hold on, Commissioner Cameron Spada. Commissioner Wostel?
She's as quick to move on as Commissioner Hagan today. This is purely an informational item that I wanted to bring for the single-member districts, because I think a lot of these properties, people don't want what they're currently slated for in those areas, and I don't think that the single-member commissioners might support what some of these have been done, and as you heard, we didn't really have a proper inventory of those, but I think that there's, I had a young man in Odessa bring his grandma to me to show me her replaced front teeth, because we have just refused to fix their sidewalks for over a decade, and she tripped and busted them out, and as a child he was taking care of her, and the sidewalk is still not fixed, and now he's a young adult. We need to find more resources to rapidly catch back up that almost 16-and-a-half-year-old list that I think now is up to about 10.5 years. And I think that there is an urgency that needs to be done about those infrastructure improvements, and I think that this is a good item for each of the single members to kind of look at them. We can bring back another date to where we say, hey, this is where we want to shift some of these around. Maybe some of them can't be developed and we do need to sell them. Maybe some of them we need to consider for economic development opportunities. I'll really be supportive of most things that you're interested in. It's purely informational. I didn't have my eyes on any specific piece, and I hope that you find it useful as well. So I'll just move to receive the report.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Wilstel, second Commissioner Myers. Commissioner Miller?
I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time, but I had a specific request on a piece of property. Should I hold it for future items?
No, go ahead.
Perfect.
I'm going to do the same.
Oh, you're going to do the same. Perfect. My office was recently contacted about enhancing the Forgotten County property in the Bloomingdale area near Chimino Elementary. The property appears to be overgrown with vegetation and has trash and litter. When I was out there, there's a trail that indicates that people are crossing the property, but the dirt path is not maintained. In following up with staff, the property was escheated to the county in 1996 due to non-payment of taxes. Staff also indicated that there aren't any programmed activities or improvements scheduled on this property. It's almost like we've forgotten that it exists, except for, of course, the kids who are making a trail through it. I wasn't here at the time, but maybe some commissioners may recall that the county approved Hawk Springs housing development just south of the property in 2021. And one condition of this zoning approval proffered that the developer was to construct a nicer dedicated trail and to enhance the county's property by cleaning it up and adding a passive park and gazebos, stuff like that. As I understand it, the implementing this option is at the sole discretion of the county. In summary, I'd like staff to bring back some options to the board for the next board meeting, which is the middle of July. I think that this could be a real enhancement to the Bloomingdale area by cleaning it up and creating safer options for our children. That is my request.
Greg, you want to comment?
Commissioner, we will follow up and make sure that we bring something back for the board so that this property can be put into some more productive use.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda, did you want to comment?
Yes, excuse me. I would like staff to investigate the feasibility of using the Palm River NSP property as a potential site for the military housing for service members serving MacDill Air Force Base. With having said that, I'd just also like to highlight the significant economic impact of MacDill Air Force Base on Hillsborough County as one of the largest employers in our region. MacDill plays a vital role in supporting our local economy, not only through its direct military and civilian workforce, but also, but also by contributing to local businesses, housing markets, and community services. Ensuring that service members have access to affordable housing near the base is not just a matter of honoring their service, it's a strategic investment in the long-term economic stability and growth of our county. So, as I was saying in the beginning, I would like staff to investigate the feasibility of using the Palm River NSP property as a potential site for military housing for service members serving at MacDill Air Force Base. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. I guess this is for Christine. I assume you followed what Commissioner
Yes,
Cameron Cepeda was saying.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda, we heard you, and yes, we will follow up. We'll work with affordable housing on that one.
Do we need to include these requests in the motion, or can they just do that unilaterally?
You know, my consideration included coming back to you with long-term use. It didn't say whether I come back one time or 20. So,
Okay. Just a couple quick comments. I think it's an excellent analysis. I'm going to thank Commissioner Wilstel for for asking for it. I think it's an excellent starting point to determine where there's value in surplusing unused property. I do like what you stated, John, as far as having a long-term strategic value perspective. Really should be on a case-by-case basis. I'll give you 3 really quick examples of why. Number one, Mosey, what we're doing there, that's going to be the most transformative project, I think, in Hillsborough County history. Secondly, Carrollwood Village Park. Many of you had an opportunity to go there. That's an national award-winning park that staff was going to surplus, and there would have been homes there. And then thirdly, New Tampa, where we have the Performing Arts Center. That development, we originally purchased the land for the Bruce B. Downs widening project. Again, that just would have been surplus, but we were able to do, I think, our first ever P3 and had the developer contribute significantly toward the Performing Arts Center and the dog park, and we put the needed commercial on the property tax rolls, and now it's generating tax revenue. So those are, I think, 3 excellent examples of where we can truly bring significant economic value. But I'm sure there's many of these that do not meet that criteria, and it's going to be of value to sell it and utilize it for needed infrastructure. I know there's like 4 different ones that I'm interested in just having conversation about. I'm not going to mention them all now. I don't think it's necessary, but I do have one question. I don't know if this is for John or for Greg. What's the status of the Boggs proposal we had a couple of years ago? Is that still active, or I know Boggs is listed in our backup, so I know that's one of the ones, but where are we on that?
Thanks, Chair Hagan. That has been discontinued. That happened during the COVID era. There was a proposal that was submitted to us back in, I believe it's 2019, for a variety of reasons, none bad. At the time, we felt that we should just withdraw the activity on that. However, I would note that their recent analysis of that property indicates there's approximately $1 million to $1.2 million in maintenance costs that are going to be required for that structure over the next 5 or so years. I would recommend that we resurrect that project and see if there's a great solution for the users of that facility, where they might get a new facility that's nearby, or we, as the county, avoid any deferred maintenance costs. So I think there's a lot of good reasons for us to take that up and consider it, and we can bring that back to you all.
Yeah, if we can just include that with the other 2. And then
we will.
These other ones, I'm not going to take more time now to go through them, and I'll get with staff later on, and we can, when the time comes. Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah, just exactly to the chair's point. I can rescind my motion. I only made the motion to receive the report. If you guys need to make a different one, but I will be ultimately extremely supportive of whatever you guys do with this information. So just whatever you.
Yeah, as long as staff's okay, we'll just stick with the motion, and if you guys can handle those on your own, then okay. So the motion was Commissioner Wostel. Who seconded it? Second, Commissioner Bowles. Okay, please record your vote.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay, Bonnie.
Thank you. Board members, I just did want to acknowledge that A27 that was removed from consent is now unnecessary, and that was pursuant to your motion, Chair Hagan. Correct. Very good. If you'd like, I would suggest that you take item D2, the public hearing, first, because you have only 1 person signed up to speak on that, and about 33 for item D1. So, Commissioners,
sure.
Okay. Okay, so item D2 is to conduct a public hearing to consider the recommendations of the hearing officer and the Emergency Medical Planning Council regarding the University of South Florida's Medical Response Unit. And Kevin Wagner is here for this item. This is a public hearing.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Kevin Wagner, Healthcare Services Department. Item D2 is a public hearing to consider authorizing for a waiver as requested by the University of South Florida Medical Response Unit for a forthcoming application for a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, COPCN. Under County Ordinances 2289 and 2290, they require that an application for a COPCN is to specify both a class and subclass of service. The USF-MRU wishes to apply for a COPCN to operate an ambulance on for ambulance service for the USF campus, but the operation will not fit into any subclasses of service identified in the county ordinances or application. Thus, under County Ordinance 2297, USF-MRU has petitioned for a waiver from having to specify a subclass in its forthcoming COPCN application. Please note, if this petition is granted, it is limited to the specific requirement of selection of a subclass. All other requirements would remain in full force and effect. The petition has been heard before a hearing officer and considered by the Emergency Medical Planning Council, both of which support the request for a waiver. The final step is for the board to hold its own public hearing and consider the petition, which is today. Should the waiver be granted, the USF-MRU would be permitted to submit a COPCN application, which would be considered and scheduled for a later COPCN hearing date, a later date and time. This is a public hearing. Staff is here for any questions.
Thank you, sir. This public hearing, would anyone like to speak to this item? Please come forward. Morning, sir.
Morning. My name is Austin Jared. I am the commander of the Medical Response Unit, and I'm also here as a representative of the University of South Florida to voice our support for the petition in front of you today and to answer any questions that any of you may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak to the item? If not, can we have a motion?
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Wellstill, second, Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote on D2.
Cameron Cepeda?
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, next item.
Thank you. The next item is item D1. This is to conduct a public hearing and adopt an ordinance repealing the Hope Affordable Housing Act ordinance. This is a public hearing.
Morning, Nancy.
Good morning. Nancy Takamori, County Attorney's Office. This is a public hearing to consider an ordinance repealing the Hope Affordable Housing Act. It has been properly noticed, and I'm available for questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Board members, we have 33 individuals that have signed up this morning, consistent with previous board action. When we have numerous speakers, I'd ask for a motion for 2 minutes for each speaker. Motion, Commissioner Bowles.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Wellstill. Please record your vote.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, going to the public comment portion of D1. Again, each individual will be given 2 minutes. The first three speakers are Thomas Cobert, followed by Lois Price and Kathleen Arnold. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Tom Cobert. The Commission established the Hope Affordable Housing Act in 2019. The act mandated $10 million a year in funding, which is 0.001% of the budget, to help create and preserve affordable housing units in the county. It was proposed to end this program because fire rescue needed the funding. Fire rescue is adequately funded out of public safety, which has a $1 billion a year budget. If there's a problem with fire rescue funding, it falls with public safety. Between 20 and 24, the fund was used to generate more than 1,100 attractive, safe, affordable housing units, with others currently under construction. This program has continuously shown serious bang for the buck. This funding also helps in applying for funds from state and federal sources. If the funding for the act goes away, so does this funding. This program benefits struggling taxpayers who live paycheck to paycheck. Last Thursday at a public forum for the HUD grant, a representative from Hillsborough County identified housing as the area with the most unmet need. Why this commission would even consider ending a program as successful and cost efficient as the Hope Affordable Housing Act makes no sense. I'm educated, and the only reason that makes any sense is that I've learned the Republican Party takes great joy in stealing from the poor to give to the rich. I want to remind you that the 3 commissioners are up for re-election next year. This decision will impact that election. The voters are watching. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Lois Price, followed by Kathleen Arnold, both in person.
Good morning. I am Lois Price. I volunteer for HOPE. More than 16,000 households in our county are on closed wait lists for affordable housing. In the face of this housing crisis, we are pleased that since 2019, more than 1,100 affordable homes have become available thanks to the county's Affordable Housing Fund. We are pleased, too, that the HUD Hurricane Relief Funds may provide another $210 million for affordable housing in the future. But let's take a look at that number. If current construction costs remain unchanged, the HUD money could result in 6,000 more affordable housing units, but that's a big if. In the near future, construction costs are almost certain to rise. Let's assume, though, that the HUD fund does actually result in 6,000 more units. That still leaves 10,000 households on the wait list, a list that will continue to grow year after year. And if, God forbid, we are hit by another hurricane, the $210 million could easily be diverted to even more storm damage repairs. The problem with both state and federal housing funds is that they are bound by externally imposed restrictions and could easily be tied up for months or years in prohibitive red tape. The County Affordable Housing Fund, on the other hand, is under county control, readily available if needed. In Hillsborough County, the creation of attractive, safe, multifamily communities is almost always the result of partnerships. Locally controlled funds often provide the seed money that brings these partners together, that makes the communities possible. In fact, $1 of local funding leverages $6 of funding from other sources. Although $10 million is less than 1% of the county budget, it's an important tool in resolving the housing crisis in this county. Please make the fiscally responsible decision not to repeal the Affordable Housing Ordinance. Instead, let's leave $10 million in the budget. Thank you.
Kathleen Arnold, followed by Thomas Spalding.
Hello, my name is Kathy Arnold, and I appreciate the opportunity to come before you. I have a complicated problem, and over the years it's become harder and harder to remedy. You see, I am an eternal optimist. But as a child, I was severely sexually abused continuously. I was sold to men. And as I got older, I realized that that abuse impacted my mind and left me with a severe mental illness. So I tried to work. I tried to go to school. Each time I was thwarted, but I kept trying. Ended up working, going to college, getting a degree, and working with individuals in the mental health system. Sadly, I was only able to work 2.5 years before once again that hope was dashed by my mental illness. So I stand here before you today with a meager Social Security income, unable to afford housing, and only because of the help of my daughter, I am not homeless. So you see, I am not unlike the many individuals HOPE is asking each one of you to help, as there are thousands of homeless on the streets of Hillsborough and more are coming. We too have hopes and dreams like each one of you. And we have tried repeatedly to get there, despite all that we carry. We will keep trying. We're not slobs or don't want to work or just don't care. We're just like you, but for unforeseen circumstances have not been able to get as far. We care, and we'll keep hoping and wishing and working towards a better end. So please, I ask you, HOPE is wishing and hoping, like me, that you will give back the money. So I thank you for your attention to this matter. I leave hoping you see all that we encompass. We are all just trying to exist in a time that is so difficult.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Thomas Spalding, followed by Justin LaRosa and Denise Herndon.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time and your consideration on this. Obviously, I'm here in support of keeping the fund and expanding it. My grandfather grew up in a home that he rented, and it was without running water, without electricity, and a latrine in the backyard. I'm housed, fortunately, as his grandson today, in large measure because there were visionary government leaders when he was growing up, and my father was reaching adulthood as a veteran of World War II. He took advantage of something called the GI Bill. FHA. These are government programs that were put in place to leverage, just as the county has done with this HOPE Fund, Affordable Housing Fund, to leverage private resources. It moved this country from a crisis of housing to one where we went from 30% homeownership to 60%. In good measure, I'm in a home today, and I own a home because of those programs. And I would implore this body to not throw out a program that's working. Build on it. We should not be asking the question, how do we eliminate this? As other people have spoken, this is an effective program that leverages public resources for unmet need in our community. And I would say, ask the question, how do we build on it, not how do we eliminate it? Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Justin LaRosa, followed by Denise Herndon and Bernice Powell-Jackson.
Good morning, Commission. So grateful to be with you here today. Thank you for listening to our concerns. I have two requests. Number one, you continue, obviously, $10 million. It's locally funded, and I'll talk more about that. Second, I want you to remove Hope's name off of it. I think it causes confusion. I think it becomes a political football, and I'd love for it to be removed and just called the Affordable Housing Fund. So as you know, 103,000 residents in Hillsborough County are spending over a third of their income. 2019, we had a bipartisan commission put this thing up to try to allow for the commission to locally leverage funds and decide how housing gets done. That's what you get to do with this fund. The HUD funds that are disaster, like you're going to hear lots of feedback on that. We're grateful that that's an opportunity to use those funds. But we need something ongoing. We are in a crisis of housing. I invite any one of you to give me a call and come meet some of the people I see every Sunday morning. Met with a gentleman, senior, who can't get on a waiting list for senior adult housing, gets $1,100 a month, and has been out on the street. It's unacceptable. We can do better. You can do better. And this is a way to do it. Is it the only way? Probably not. But this is an effective way. We've built 1,100 units over the last 5 or 6 years or under development, and we can do more. For every dollar invested, 6 gets leveraged. That's a pretty good return on investment. And some of the things that have been thrown around, like Hope controls this for the public, we don't have anything to do it. It's a bunch of churches that are advocating for people who can't come here and advocate for themselves. So I hope you'll consider this. I hope you'll remember. And I hope you'll take me up on my offer. Remove that name off of there, keep it going, and call me, and I'll introduce you to a lot of people.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Next up is Denise Herndon, followed by Bernice Powell-Jackson. Next up, Bernice Powell-Jackson.
Good morning. I'm Bernice Powell-Jackson, pastor of First United Church of Tampa. And once again, we come before you to plead not for ourselves, but for the 100,000 plus families in our county who are rent burdened, for the thousands of those who have no home at all, for the thousands who suffer mental illness and desperately need permanent supportive housing in order to become productive citizens, for the thousands of our neighbors who are disabled, who are senior citizens, who are the working poor, and live right here in our county but struggle each and every day to pay rent or to find a safe place to live. We are here for those who, like a young lady who came to our church 2 weeks ago, pregnant and living in her car with her 2 children, working 12-hour shifts in an assisted living facility, and going to school trying to get a degree to make life better for her family. We are here for the businesses in our county whose workers must travel across the county or from another county and struggle each and every day to get to work. That's why many businesses and the Tampa Chamber of Commerce agree that this fund should be kept and fully funded. I come to thank, in particular, Commissioner Cohen, who has steadfastly spoken out, and Commissioner Myers, who has voted over again, and also to thank Commissioner Hagan, who did vote to establish the fund in 2019. I thank you on behalf of the 1,100 families who now have a place to call home. But I also come to say to you that I have heard the argument that there will be federal funds coming to the county. But my mother taught me an old saying that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You cannot control whether or when funds actually arrive from the feds or the state, or what conditions may be put upon them. But you can and do control the $10 million in this.
Next up is Hamira Afzal, followed by Lee Barks and Neil Manamela.
Good morning. Too many people in our community are just one bit of bad luck away from sleeping in their car or in an alley. Many of them are people who, despite working multiple jobs, can't find affordable housing. These are members of our community. These are your constituents. They are people who should have a place to live because housing should be a human right, not a luxury, not a privilege. Children and seniors are especially feeling the pain. Over 4,200 children, 4,200 children in Hillsborough County lack a fixed, regular, adequate nighttime residence. These numbers are going up, not down. Seniors are the fastest growing homeless population. 59% of seniors in this county are financially burdened due to housing costs. Money from the HOPE Act fund has been incredibly well spent, as other speakers have already noted. The issue has been that it just hasn't been enough to undo decades of unmet need. This board has been very focused on cutting county expenditures. Fiscal responsibility is important, but cutting funding for things like affordable housing ultimately costs taxpayers more money and other costs. These affordable housing dollars also bring in far more money than spent. This locally controlled fund leverages $6 for every $1 invested by bringing public and private dollars to the county that would not otherwise be here. It's kind of like buy one, get 6 free. In terms of fiscal responsibility, forgoing the benefits from these funds would be penny wise and pound foolish by forgoing $6 in order to save $1. That's a 600% return on investment. You should be increasing, not cutting these funds. From the perspective of serving the needs of our community, voting to repeal the HOPE Affordable Housing Act.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Please state your name for the record.
Humera Afzal, please vote no.
Lee Barks, followed by Neil Manimala.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Lee Barks, co-chair of the combined HOPE Affordable Housing and Mental Health and Addictions Committee. Behind me and in the atrium below, you'll see a number of people in purple shirts. About half of them were here for round one of this issue and watched and monitored the Affordable Housing Fund from its beginnings. They've given their time over the past 6 years and tracked accountability of the county's contributions to mostly building of affordable housing in Hillsborough. Some of them have also, through their congregations, offered land for multi-unit complexes that have either been built or are in progress. They've partnered in an effort including Hillsborough County Commissioners and county staff. This is a locally controlled fund, controlled by you, not HOPE, not the state of Florida, and not the federal government. And HOPE receives not 1 penny of these funds. HOPE is primarily a volunteer effort made up of faith-based congregations. You've heard the stats regarding the continuing extreme need in this community for affordable housing. People who live in these units are veterans, seniors, families, and people with disabilities. The county's Affordable Housing Trust Fund is a long-term, incremental effort to address the county's crisis. And now we have a motion to repeal the ordinance that provides for it. No matter what other funds come available or what other needs compete with affordable housing, the fund is invaluable as an ongoing commitment to all residents to help the county to be a good place to live, work, and do business. The Tampa Chamber of Commerce and its affiliates support continuation of the ordinance. I urge you to allow continuation and full annual funding because this is more than worthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to speak is Neil Manamala, followed by Peter Hortzman and Dr. Patricia Alonso.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Neil Manimala. I'm a surgeon in East Hillsborough County, and
also a parishioner at Sacred Heart Catholic Church here in downtown, where we're in solidarity with so many unhoused citizens here in the county. I'm here to urge you to vote no on this ordinance to protect the Hope Affordable Housing Act and Fund. I'm here to tell you also that I understand your position. You know, when I'm in the operating room, I always consider costs. I think twice before opening that $5,000 piece of fancy equipment. But when it's my patient on the table, when she's vulnerable and bleeding, when she's entrusted her life into my hands, make no mistake, I will open that extra suture. If she's bleeding, I will call for that extra bag of blood. I do everything I can in the moment of crisis to ensure that the priority is not the hospital's overhead, but the priority is the precious life in front of me. That same spirit fills this room. You know, the folks in Hillsborough County have entrusted us to take care of their shelter and their safety, to take care of their dignity. And the Affordable Housing Fund is one amazing means to do it. 0.007% of the county budget annually going to over 1,100 housing units for low-income residents. That's an amazing impact. This isn't about waste, fraud, and abuse. This is about the fact that housing really is infrastructure. You know, and when the hurricanes came last year, the Hope Affordable Housing Fund was the suture that tied seniors, veterans, working families to dignity, to actual access to housing. And any good surgeon knows that you got to use a scalpel, not a stick of dynamite when it comes to stewardship. And so I urge you to vote no on this ordinance and protect the dignity of our county residents. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Dr. Patricia Alonso, followed by Russ Miller and Jennifer Houdsell.
Dr. Alonso did not join virtually.
Excuse me, but you skipped over me.
That's right. I didn't.
I'm Peter Horstman, and I am speaking against the repealing of the Hope Affordable Housing Act. This is an unconscionable consideration at a time when affordable housing is practically non-existent to begin with, and the program has been so successful. We should be restoring it to its original $10 million instead of eliminating it. I do not need to give you any more details because so many people have spoken with all of the details of why you need to do this. I'm going to give them my time to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Did I hear staff correctly that our virtual participant was not on? Okay. Next up then is Russ Miller, followed by Jennifer Houdsell.
Thank you. My name is Russ Miller. I'm a data analyst and a campaign worker in Lutz. I want to thank Harry Cohen, Gwen Myers, and Ken Hagan for supporting the Affordable Housing Fund. You have another thing in common. You've been in office for more than 4 years. You know what it takes to please the voters and stick around. Brad Pitt once played a criminal in a movie called Killing Me Softly. He said American politics is just pretty words written by hypocrites who talked about freedom while owning slaves. He said reality is America is a business, and I want my money. For some people, politics is a business, not a calling. They serve to please big developers who build mansions, not to please the voters. But this is also a land where people love justice and believe in God, a God who promises a better world in exchange for their hard work, sacrifice, courage, integrity, and wisdom. People want to think of themselves and their politicians as heroes, not victims or cynical villains. The last time Hope came here, 4 of you talked about defunding affordable housing. They had another thing in common. None of those 4 has been reelected to the county commission. That is something you have to earn by running on your record, not just by being a Republican in a good year for Republicans. Being a county commissioner is a well-paying job. It pays $120,000 a year, more than what twice what school board pays, 60% more than Tampa City Council. There are many successful local politicians who may run against you, people who've gotten Republicans and Democrats to knock on thousands of doors for them for free. They look at commissioners who think they can get reelected by defunding affordable housing, and they see job opportunities. You've helped make Hope famous with all these recent newspaper headlines for doing good deeds, and Hope is getting larger. Wouldn't you like to be famous for doing good deeds too?
Thank you for
Vote
your
no.
comments. Jennifer Houchsel in person, followed by Sheila Simmons-Tribble virtually.
I'm Jennifer Houdeschel, and I'd also like to thank the committee council members who have voted for affordable housing. Right now, you're deciding whether to fund or eliminate this vital housing program that assists our county's most vulnerable residents, low and very low income families. This program is not just a line item. This program is a lifeline for people, our friends and neighbors in the community. Too often when we hear about affordable housing, it's treated like a problem instead of a solution. Affordable housing money means opportunity. A single parent can provide stability for her children. Seniors can age in place with dignity. Veterans who served our country have a safe place to call home. People with disabilities are not left behind. Those working full-time can afford a roof over their heads. Survivors of domestic violence can find safety and regain stability. Young people aging out of foster care can have a foundation, a place to grow. Affordable housing also helps teachers' aides, hospital techs, service workers, first responders. It keeps them working and living in our community, the community they serve. And those it helps who have lost jobs to regain stability and start over. Author Matthew Desmond said, "Without stable shelter, everything else falls apart." It's true. Without an affordable place to live, people struggle to keep jobs. Kids struggle to learn. People can't plan for the future. Maya Angelou wrote, "The ache for home lives inside all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned." Everyone deserves that ache to be answered.
Ma'am, thank you for your
retain.
comments. Next up is
Thank you.
Sheila Simmons-Tribble virtually.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Sheila Simmons-Tribble, and I am speaking in support of the Affordable Housing Act. Affordable housing, as we all know, is a critical issue in our county, and this act has been one of the best tools to address this issue. It addresses the needs of low and very low income families, veterans, persons with disabilities, and seniors. It's also locally controlled by Hillsborough County. It helps to leverage, as many people actually have spoken, to leverage other housing resources. It stabilizes families and communities, and it does provide public safety for all. We are grateful to see the $200 million that's being proposed for affordable housing in the hurricane relief. Yet, the proposal does acknowledge that there is still a gap of unmet affordable housing needs related to the impact of the storm. Now, that means is there even a greater need? Hope funds will boost the affordable housing need, but the Affordable Housing Fund is a long-term goal. It helps promote our economy and businesses by providing housing for employees, and the Affordable Housing Act is supported by the Tampa Chamber of Commerce and its local affiliates. Like my other people that have spoken, I too want to thank Commissioner Coyne, Miles, and Hagan for the support of the Hope Fund over the years, and I ask you, please do not repeal the act. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up is Kimberly Overman in person, followed by Julio Lopez in person, and Stacy Ransom virtually.
Good morning. Thank you, Board, for bringing this to our attention. I'm going to suggest that it's important to recognize that the ordinance does not force the hand of future boards. That's a lie. What it does is it asks the county administrator to allocate towards the budget, and then the Board of County Commission decides on the budget. So the idea that this ordinance is a problem is actually false. What it does is it forces the board to acknowledge whether they're choosing to invest in our infrastructure in an urgent issue that is necessary for our community. Building affordable housing costs the same as market rate housing. As we've heard, every dollar invested in affordable housing generates $6 of leverage of private and public and grant dollars in order to build units for our people to live in. Every dollar generates 1.2% of local GDP, so it's investing in our overall economy. 15 jobs are created with every affordable housing project that's developed after the construction jobs. It actually cuts Medicaid costs by 12%, which we worked very hard this morning in order to make sure those dollars are best saved and protected. It saves $20,000 a year in homeless and health care services each year. And it makes it possible for available housing to allow children to learn effectively in our community, because they don't learn when they're moving night to night from one hotel to another because we have insufficient units. We have heard from majority of our organizations that have a stake in our economy that housing is an infrastructure critical issue for the growth and sustainability of our community and our economy in Hillsborough County and our entire region. Housing is in a crisis level. Choosing to eliminate an ordinance.
Thank you for your comments. Next
doesn't
up
allow
is
you
Julio
to be able
Lopez, followed by Shanice Taylor. I skipped over something.
Hi, I'm Julio Lopez. Please call me Jules. I am a member of Hope and the First United Church of Tampa. I am here to speak up in favor of the Hope Affordable Housing Act. I would like you to vote no on the ordinance to repeal said act. Frankly, I believe that we are all neighbors here, even the unhoused, especially the unhoused. We must preserve all of our dignities by making sure that we have affordable housing as an option available to all. This nation, as we speak, is already on the news. We have a affordability crisis that manifests itself both in our groceries. $100 worth of groceries don't buy you as much food as it used to. It doesn't weigh as heavy as it used to. Cars are getting too expensive. More and more people can't afford to buy a car, even used, let alone maintain one. And it's most evident in a lack of affordable housing. So I want us to preserve this funding so we can have more affordable housing available to all of our neighbors, to each and every one of us, regardless of age, what they do for a living, or how they came to Tampa, or why they choose to remain in Tampa. This is our city. We are neighbors. These are our neighborhoods. Invest in these cities. Sorry, in our city. Invest in these neighbors. Invest in our neighborhoods so that we have that much more incentive to actually care about each other and the places we live, so that we don't have senior citizens like Wolsto's constituent who fell over and broke their teeth because there was a lack of investment in public infrastructure. So again, vote no on the ordinance to repeal the Hope Affordable Housing Act. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I'm going to go back to Patricia Alonso, who's now back online. Patricia Alonso.
Hello.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Go ahead. Oh, thank you so much. Good morning. I'm Patricia Alonso. I'm here today to address the County Commission on the ordinance to repeal funding for Hope. This decision truly, if not voted in favor, is a travesty. Not only did we lose funding from $10 million to $2 million, that critically impacted the most vulnerable to the unhoused. You are now crippling affordable housing as a whole with this potential decision. I speak in favor of the resolution of the reallocation of the $10 million for Hope to fund and create rehab and preserve decent housing for our community. A community of hardworking individuals, of families, of children, which are the most vulnerable, veterans, and people with disability that are in very low income. The reallocation of these $10 million is a drop in the BOCC budget to the Affordable Housing Fund will be transformational for our county and the creation of more affordable housing. It will also help Hope leverage an additional funding source and annually chip away at the housing crisis in our county. The reallocation of $10 million to Hope will ensure that 1,893 Hillsborough County residents that are unhoused will have the opportunity to be housed. We currently have them living in shelters, transitional housing, or on the street, and in our very own county. Hope with every pun intended, is a beacon of hope for this community. And the only way to be able to continue to house these individuals is through reallocation of the $10 million to the Affordable Housing Fund and make our county become and continue to be a beacon of hope for the most vulnerable. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Stacy Ransom, followed by Shanice Taylor and Laurie Jones-Oluku. Stacy here, or is she virtual?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Stacey Ransom, and I'm a staunch supporter of the people and the Affordable Housing Fund. In March 2019, the Florida Housing Coalition produced a report called Unlocking Florida's Economic Potential. In that report, they detailed how Florida had the highest share of cost burden residents of any state, how wages haven't caught up to the rising price of things, and how we're 44th in the nation for affordable housing stock. With those stats, you'd think we'd be pressing the gas to keep affordable housing at the forefront of our minds so we could get out of this crisis, right? And in 2019, the county actually did do something about that by creating the Affordable Housing Fund. Fast forward to 2025, where Florida still has the highest share of cost burden residents of any state. We are in the top 25% of states in terms of cost of living, and we still don't have enough housing, let alone affordable housing, to accommodate the number of people moving here. But we're now considering repealing the Affordable Housing Act. Why would we want to increase homelessness rates in a county where the rates are already rising? Affordable housing isn't just an issue that affects certain people, it affects all of us. We all could be one natural disaster, one layoff, and one bad investment away from being in the same position. So it's imperative we take care of the entire community and continue to make our entire county a better place to live. Housing is an issue that's foundational. It is a basic need. If you don't have housing, you cannot be safe. As such, I'm confused why any commissioner would want to mistreat the people they've been elected to serve, just because of party lines. If you aren't caring for my housing needs, which is my personal safety, then you aren't caring for public safety. That same article stated, and I quote, "Housing affordability drives individual economic security and mobility and creates the foundation for a robust and vibrant economy. Investing in affordable housing development has ripple effects throughout the economy, creating good-paying jobs, increasing the financial ability of households, and generating revenue for the state," end quote. The return on investment in affordable housing is exponentially greater than the investment. We must stop acting as if public safety and personal safety don't go hand in hand. They are synonymous, and we need to and
Thank you, Ms.
can
Ransom.
do both.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you, ma'am. Shanice Taylor is virtual, followed by Laurie Jones-Oluku and Laura Lawson. Is Shanice on the phone?
Shanice did not check in.
Okay, thank you. Laurie Jones-Oluku, followed by Laura Lawson and Deborah Thatcher. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Laurie Jones-Oluku, a member from Bible-Based Fellowship Church, a member of Hope, and I'm sad to be here again today. As you've heard from my colleagues who've been up here before me, they've shared the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. We definitely have an affordable housing crisis in our community, and we definitely know that having affordable housing helps people to live a safer lifestyle. It helps children to have a safe place to live so they don't have to move from school to school, and helps pregnant moms to not have to live in their cars with 3 children and go to school. We know all these things, right? We know all of this. So it's so frightening that we're here again. And the lack of affordable housing is definitely increasing the mental health crisis that we see in our community, and so many of our homeless are facing a mental health crisis. We also know that that's an issue here. We are looking at affordable housing as a crucial component of the overall community safety and well-being here in our county, and addressing the affordable housing crisis is an essential step for fostering safer and resilient communities. The question we all are asking is, why would you want to repeal a fund that could help during a hurricane or help a veteran or a homeless person We ask that every day. We ask, that's in our hearts when we go to sleep. That's what we pray for. So
Thank you, ma'am.
please don't repeal the fund.
Appreciate your
Thank you.
comments. Laura Lawson, followed by Deborah Thatcher, and then Joan Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Laura Lawson. I've been a resident of Hillsborough County and an attorney since 1997. There's no replacement for hope, not for the feeling, not for the organization, and not for this ordinance. See, unlike developers of sports stadiums and multi-million-dollar subdivisions, poor people don't have paid lobbyists to come visit and ask for their interests to be heard. What they are lucky to have in Hillsborough County is an incredible organization, a charitable organization called HOPE, that is not an affordable housing developer. All these activists you see here today are not getting a dime because this ordinance exists. They are here advocating for poor people who we know in this price-burdened county have issues getting safe, affordable housing. And that's why the HOPE dollars are targeted towards lower-income families, unlike the state legislature's plan that was developed by paid lobbyists for much higher income, workforce level up to 120% of AMI residents. That's a completely different population. This also cannot be replaced with ship and sale because the legislature has that and they rate it. And it cannot be replaced with disaster relief. That is something different. So don't leave Hillsborough County residents without hope. Vote no.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Deborah Thatcher, followed by Joan Johnson, and then Sharon Streeter. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Deb Thatcher, and I've lived in Hillsborough County my entire adult life. I spent over 25 years working for the BOCC, helping people better their lives as a social worker and managing services for senior citizens. I'm proud of the work I did, and I'm thankful that Hillsborough County made it a priority to help citizens with limited resources and allowed me to give needed support. But as the years have gone by, I've noticed that more and more the county has changed the way it quantifies success. It used to be important to offer services that created a meaningful life for citizens. Now, the county seems to measure success only in numbers, like how many miles of sidewalks do we have? How many potholes have we filled? Numbers equated to success rather than how lives have been changed. I understand that it is difficult to put a number to improve housing situations or how a person's life has been changed when they receive safe housing and emotional and mental support. When success has been achieved, it is still valuable a way to spend county money. It has become common knowledge that the lack of affordable housing in Hillsborough County is a serious problem. Most of you acknowledge that it's a big problem. I understand that you put aside $1 million rather than keeping the $10 million that has been in the HOPE Act. The HOPE Affordable Housing Fund is a way to solve this big problem. It has been successful in changing lives, and yet you all are considering repealing this act. As you know, there are more than 1,100 units that have been completed as a result of the Housing Assistance Fund. The HOPE Affordable Housing Fund is working and needs to remain in the budget for the long term. How do you plan?
Thank you, Ms. Thatcher. Joan Johnson. Is Joan here? Followed by Sharon Streeter, and then Reverend Karen Sims. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Joan Johnson. The other day, my friends and I were going to the club, and there was a pothole. And Bernard's McLaren hit the pothole and made a clunky noise. But Kiki and I both drive F-type, so we don't hear it as much. So I said, when are they going to fix these potholes? It's just driving me crazy going to the club or to the spa. But my friends said, well, the county commission. I said, all they worry about is affordable housing and people that can't afford things and stuff like that. And she says, no, It's changed. All the people that were worried about the trees and the ponds and stuff are gone. There's different people like us there now. And in reality, as a privileged white woman, I look around and I value, people who are fiscally responsible. But I also remind you that you are human beings, and there are human beings that could use a little mercy once in a while and help them. I'm not saddled with medical debt. These people can't just get another job or get a second job. If somebody is sick and a single mom ends up living in a car because her husband died and they lost all of their belongings, I'm fine, but these people need a little help. Why not? Why not? I can afford to do that. You got my tax money. Use a little bit of it to be human beings. Look these people in the eye. They're people like us. They can't get all of their food by the granola bars that the church people give to these poor people laying around. They're human beings like us. And just by the luck of the draw, I'm not laying there or living in a car. And I've made money, and I'm going to give it to you so that you can help some of these people and be smart enough to take this deal. These people are volunteers. They're giving you, and he's laughing.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Don't laugh, Westall.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ms. Johnson. Appreciate your comments. Sharon Streeter, followed by Reverend Karen Sims and Geraldine Rogers Toombs. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Streeter, a volunteer with HOPE, the Hillsborough Organization for Progress and Equality. At last month's Board of County Commission meeting, I was deeply surprised to hear a commissioner say the Affordable Housing Act is the most undemocratic thing ever. Yet the process of passing the Affordable Housing Act is what democracy truly looks like. Elected commissioners responding to the expressed will of the people of this county. HOPE members, moved by compassion and loving their neighbors as themselves, brought this issue forward to meet a community need. HOPE does not take government funds. To be clear again, HOPE does not receive any of the affordable housing funds. What HOPE does is exercise the rights we have because we live in a democracy. And listening to thousands of people, we constantly heard stories of pressures on families, veterans, seniors caused by the lack of affordable housing, especially for the low and very low income. Maybe you heard these stories, or even you have your own story about affordable housing. We listened, but we did not stop there. 300 HOPE members voted to tackle the lack of affordable housing and researched it to better understand the extent of the problem and to identify long-term systemic solutions by meeting with elected officials and professionals. We learned our stories were not rare. Over 100,000 families with low incomes in our county suffer because of the lack of affordable housing. We also learned other communities have successful ordinances. Please.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you. Reverend Karen Sims, followed by Geraldine Rogers Toombs and Tamika Jackson. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Karen Jackson Sims, and many of you know me. I have spent the last 30 years working on affordable housing in Hillsborough County. Although I am retired now, I am your former Deputy Regional Administrator for the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, covering Region 4, of which Hillsborough County is a part. Over those 30 years, I have watched the housing market in the community which I reside change. Never has there been a more pressing time for the need for investment in your infrastructure of housing as it is today. I understand that you have disaster recovery money. It is a one-time allocation, and much of those funds are going to be used by property owners who were impacted by the storm and need help repairing their existing homes, not producing new affordable housing stock. I encourage you to hear the comments that are being made at the public hearings taking place right now, where people are coming into those hearings and saying that they need more housing. You've got to hear the voices of your constituency. So rather than eliminating a program, change the name of the program, because we're getting hung up on the name. If you don't want to do 10 million, I beseech you to think about your employees, the teachers, the firefighters, the hospital workers who need these funds to be able to become homeowners within your community. They need down payment assistance. They need subsidized housing, single-family homes. Don't take the whole program away, but come up with a way that you will lead the county for the future to make sure you can meet all of your constituent needs.
Thank you,
I
Reverend
thank you
Sims.
for this opportunity.
Appreciate your comments. Geraldine Rogers-Toombs, followed by Tamika Jackson, and then Alan Lipke. Good morning.
Good morning, Geraldine Rogers-Toombs. Actually, I didn't plan to speak today, but God gave me a word for you. And you know, the thing of the matter is that 30% of Hillsborough County's residents are below the poverty guidelines, below poverty guidelines. That's a significant number of people, approximately 200,000 people. And 50% are income insufficient to meet, you know, just the basic living needs. And not only that, you know, when you think about the cost of living here and what's the average income, there are some real significant issues. But what came to my mind this morning is, why would you want to eliminate a program that has been successful? That's the question. Why would you want to change something that really has been successful? 1,100 families have benefited from this particular Affordable Care Act fund. We need to really think about what's in the best interest of the people. The Lord said that which you have done unto the least of these, you've also done unto me. And I really thank you for this opportunity to speak. And may God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. Tamika Jackson, followed by Alan Lipke, and then John Day. Good morning.
Hello, I'm Tamika Jackson. I speak as a social worker today. I worked in the community with child welfare. Stable housing was an issue. I work with veterans. Stable housing was an issue. I work in the senior population now. Stable housing is an issue. Today, I speak on the behalf of all individuals who continue to experience homelessness due to a lack of affordable housing. During COVID time, homelessness increased with our senior and disabled community due to Section 8 homes being sold. Today, this continues. Many of the properties that are listed affordable is impossible for seniors with only $350 or $950 a month. A studio apartment costs about $841 per month. Ironically, the individual must make 2.5 times the rent. Even trailer lot rents have increased $600 and up. To add salt to the wound, some of the affordable housing community only allow a certain amount of apartments to be based off income. For example, Madison Highland, the second division, will only offer approximately 11 units to be based off income. I have encountered individuals who previously checked their waiting list status with Tampa Housing by entering their personal information. Now they have to enter their email address, and many of the seniors don't have email addresses. All elderly housing and Section 8 housing has an unknown frame of waiting list. We need transparency. We do not need you to take away the money. Can you please add another $10 million? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Alan Lipke, followed by John Day, and then Angela Colanello. Good morning.
I'm Alan Lipke. I have very little to tell you. I just want to ask some questions. If you continue to bleed or wreck this successful public-private partnership, where are you going to get your workers? Where are you going to get your nurses and hospital techs? Where are you going to get your teachers and teachers' aides, your baristas, your farm workers, your law clerks, your retirees, your office workers, your bus drivers, your child care and social workers? Where are you going to put your children when they get too smart and irritating to live with you? You chose this career, I hope, to serve the needs of this community. And if you honestly still believe, against all the evidence, that private enterprise alone can meet those needs, what are you doing here, taking our tax pittance instead of making a lot more money working for private enterprise? So, leaving you with these thoughts, I just want to reiterate something that's already been said. We of Hope did not ask for this ordinance to be named after us. Call it the Dwight David Eisenhower Initiative if you like. Call it the Gwen Henderson Initiative if you like. But for God's sake, do not cut our throats and your own throats for short-term ideological whims. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lipke. John Day. Is John here? Followed by Angela Colanello and then Cheryl Lee. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to ask you to consider some things. I hope you don't feel badgered by all of this, but I hope you still have an open mind. We have a hard time imagining these large numbers. 10 million versus a total proposed budget of 10.4 billion. It's hard to wrap your mind around it. If you translate those dollars into a dollar per second, the housing fund would be less than 4 months. But your overall budget is more like 322 years. Consider that, 4 months versus 322 years. Just consider that. But maybe you need to think in more concrete terms. Suppose your whole proposed budget was a concrete truck, and you go out in your big concrete truck, and you're stopped on the way and say, "Hey, yo, driver, I got a little patch of sidewalk here. Can you just take this 1 yard patch of sidewalk?" And you say, "Oh, yeah, sure." You stop and do it. And then you take your big truck and you could go lay sidewalk all day long. You know how much total sidewalk you could lay? 10 football fields. And that's the active play field, the 100 yards. 1 yard of affordable housing versus 1,017 yards total budget. That's a pittance. Come on, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Appreciate your comments. Last three speakers this morning, Angela Colanello, followed by Cheryl Lee, and then Charles Weissing. Good morning.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Colanello. I come to you as a teacher in the school district of Hillsborough County. Thanks for having me. It's summer and I can be here. I'm asking you to all think if you know the very first question that we as teachers, every teacher probably in Hillsborough County, asks our students or tells our students the night before our state standardized test. The very, very first thing that we tell our students when they walk out that door, goodbye, everybody, make sure you get a good night's sleep. I'll give everyone in the room a chance to say it too because it's so important. We tell those students, boys and girls, please go home, get a good night's sleep. The second thing we do is we ask them to get a good breakfast. I think that meeting was last week and I missed it. But I am here to remind us that we have roughly 4,000 students registered as McKinney-Vento students, homeless, or not in transition or whatnot. That's only registered. We don't know how many students that we're unaware of that are transitioning and don't have that good night's sleep. Hillsborough County School District, I want to say, I hope my numbers are accurate, but I don't know if many of us are over a 50% reading proficiency. So I'm here asking us to remember that when we have our students come in and they're talking to us and we're telling them, boys and girls, get your good night's sleep. But miss, we slept in the car last night. But miss, I slept on the floor at my aunt's house. My brothers and sisters were crying all night long. My parents were fighting, we have to move. So if we want to work with the school board, if we want to work with the school district, if we want to help each other to thrive and to grow in our community, we have to allow the Affordable Care Act to go through. We have to allot those funds for our students so that we can work together and so that we can thrive. We also don't want our struggling Floridians having to roam around our beautiful and wonderful Gasworks new community.
Thank you, Ms. Connello.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last two speakers, Cheryl Lee, and then followed by Charles Weissing. Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say every day that we get up, we have to fight. We have to fight. And affordable housing is worth fighting for. And you all have the power in your hands to do what is right and what is just for the people of Hillsborough County. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker, Charles Weissing. Good morning.
Good morning. I have to say, my wife made me wear this ugly purple T-shirt, and I'm here with other people wearing T-shirts and other things. We're part of HOPE, as you've heard, and as an organization, we are people of the promise. We're a group of faith-based and other organizations that are coming together to help other people. It's not that I need a house, it's that brothers and sisters and people of our community need houses. Now, we come here today because of tomorrow. Tomorrow we're not going to be working because there's something that's going on where we remember when a promise was made and it started to be repaid. Today we're here about a different kind of a promise. There was a promise that this board, that this commission, that the county made 6 years ago. And that needs to continue to be paid. We should keep our promises. But it didn't start 6 years ago. It actually started 16 or 18 years ago. The problem has existed a long time. The advocates have been here a long time. We were successful as a community, not as this group, but as everyone coming together, including this board, in creating a fund to solve a problem. That problem can get worse, and it has gotten worse. You did something about it, so we're here to watch you keep your promise.
Appreciate your comment. Okay, that closes the public comment. What's the pleasure of the board? Commissioner Cohen.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone that came down to speak today. I think that your words were incredibly eloquent, and I couldn't have said better what all of you said about the reasons that I'm going to continue to support the fund. I just want to say, because it didn't get mentioned, that this problem of affordable housing is an infrastructure problem that is as large as any other infrastructure problem that we face. It's not just about people on the street. It's about people living in their cars. It's about people doubling and tripling up. It's about riding down residential streets and seeing 8 cars in a driveway that you know the house is not built for that many people. It is a constant struggle for lots of people in our community. This fund was not the end-all, be-all. I've expressed before my belief that we should be doing more in this area, that this is inadequate, but it is something. But I also want to say that the fight doesn't end today, regardless of what happens, because it is always in this board's purview to allocate money in every budget cycle for things that we think are important. And so this is a topic that we must return to, because it's not going to go away. And I just want to close by saying that last week I was out in my district looking around at some canal maintenance projects. And, you know, there are people living on our canals. There are people that have campsites set up on our canals. They're not living in their cars or with friends. They're literally living on the side of our storm ditches. And this problem is not going to go away without our doing everything that we possibly can to leverage our funds and be able to solve it. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. This is really simple. I don't think that I think everybody knows how they're going to vote, but I wanted to point out the board from fiscal year 20 to 2023, which was the board immediately prior to me, their history of transportation funding that was just presented to us, that board funded in fiscal year 20, $9.5 million total for transportation. 2021, only $5 million. 2022, 13.9, and 2023 fiscal year budget, only 7.4. That board wreaked havoc on our communities and allowing our critical infrastructure, such as our sidewalks and our roads that we've mentioned a lot today, the injured senior citizens that have come to us, and I know many others in this community, that we simply pay out a quick little payment through our review board of trip and fall claims to avoid lawsuit, and the problem has become cyclical to a point that we're funding other extravagant things like this over our critical immediate needs that are in the community.
Folks, please be quiet, or I'll have the deputy escort you out. Thank you.
I was thinking about the No Kings Day that just passed. Only kings force people to tithe. Only kings force people into philanthropy. Only kings restrict what other people can do with their property rights, such as implement almost 2 years of moratoriums that existed immediately before I got here that exacerbated our home inventory issue and thus only increased the price of homes in Hillsborough County. What this board has done has reduced the property taxes and the cost of living and the cost of homes in all 3 of our cities beginning this year, and we plan to do it next year as well. And if this $10 million is rescinded, it will be brought up, to my understanding, to even further reduce the cost of living and cost of homes in the 3 municipalities by thus reducing their property taxes. The role of government, nothing that I've read, is for us to dominate the housing industry and start being in charge of building homes for those around us with other people's money. I think that this is a great item, and as Commissioner Cohen accurately pointed out, the biggest problem with this ordinance is that it is so undemocratic in nature that it would force future boards to have to make promises of past boards that we did not make to our voters that voted us into office. We made them certain promises. Mine specifically was to increase funding to transportation and infrastructure without increasing their taxes. And I think that, just like he said, a commissioner can bring it back up if they're as passionate about affordable housing, and if they can get their 4 votes, then they get their 4 votes, and it's in the budget for next year. So I will be supporting the rescission of this ordinance. Thank you very much, Commissioner Bowles, for bringing this forward.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
Yes, thank you. As we consider the repeal of the Hope Affordable Housing Act, I want to express a serious concern. Several residents have spoken at our board meetings and shared that they know individuals in our community who are in urgent need of housing assistance. And yet we have millions of dollars currently available in our affordable housing funds. And that raises an important question. If the funds are available, why aren't some of our residents receiving the help they need? Is there a disconnect between our county services and the people we are here to serve? Are the residents aware that resources exist? And if so, what barriers are preventing them from accessing the assistance? If any residents who has sought affordable housing help and was unsuccessful, please contact my office because we want to understand where the breakdown is occurring, whether it's in communication, eligibility, process, or outreach, and ensure no family is left behind when support is available. If we have millions of dollars for affordable housing, then those in need should be able to access that help. And we owe it to our residents to identify and address any obstacles and ensure funds are used as intended. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't see anyone else in the queue, so we need a motion.
Move to repeal.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Bowles, second, Commissioner Wolstel. Just a couple quick comments before we vote. A few comments I heard this morning. First of all, thank everyone for coming down and sharing your concerns this morning. We do have an affordable housing crisis. There's no doubt about that. However, a couple of comments that I heard. One was add 10 million, another was do not cut our throats. And the reality is, over the next 6 years, we're going to be investing $400 million into affordable housing. Now, we have significant unfunded needs, which require the board to be creative in in budgeting our priorities. So it really makes sense, knowing that we're going to be investing $400 million in over 6 years, to leverage existing affordable housing funding for critical unfunded infrastructure and public safety needs. As I always have, I will continue to support reduced HOPE funding, but that does not require an ordinance to do so. By eliminating the ordinance, it will avoid the yearly shell game that the county administrator has to go through and in her budget planning, and it will help her in her budget planning while still funding critical affordable housing needs over the next 6 years. So I'm going to continue to support a reduced amount like I have every year, but again, it does not require an ordinance to do that, and I think it will certainly help our budget planning moving forward. So can we have a motion and a second? Please record your vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowles?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
No.
Motion carries 5-2. Commissioners Cohen and Myers voted no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. With that, Bonnie, next item.
Thank you. We have one last item. It is item G2. This is to receive a report on prescription analysis and alternatives. And they are coming in. Ivy Martin will present this item. With her will be our various consultants as well, who she will introduce.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are here to come back to provide the staff report. We have our consultants, the Baldwin Group, as well as Prism Health, who will be conducting today's presentation.
Hi, good morning. I'm Nicole Noveski, and I'm with the Baldwin Group, and I'm joined today with Nick Getz, also from the Baldwin Group, and Ryan Rice, President and CEO of Prism Health Group. At the February meeting, it was requested that we do a detailed analysis on your prescription drug program, and we're here today to deliver an overview of those results. This is really comparing your program that you have in place now to the program that will be in place in 2026 of January. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nick and Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Just a quick overview real quick of the program that we are heading to and the financial results that we're going to provide today. We are moving toward a transparent pass-through model in 26. Today you are in a traditional model. The traditional model really serves, in my mind, as kind of thinking about like an iceberg, right? You're floating at sea, you're unsure of where things are, you don't know what's coming next, right? You have no real line of sight of what's below you. Where we're heading in 26, you have full transparency, full clarity, and full visibility into your program, the financial results of the program, and the actual cost of drugs. If we think about how the members experience the plan in 26, they're going to experience the true cost of prescription drugs, not just the cost the PBM charges. And with that, I'll pass over to Ryan Rice.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Commissioners, for the time today. My name is Ryan Rice, President, CEO of the Prism Health Group. We are an independent and agnostic pharmacy consulting company. The pharmacy element of the health benefit is all we focus on. The item on the agenda for today was one of the pieces that my firm analyzed independently. The specific model that you have in place today, as Nick has outlined, on a traditional or spread-based contract in comparison to the forthcoming 2026 Cigna agreement that is based on the principles of fully pass-through and transparent PBM pricing. The analysis that my firm completed through the process identified nearly $7 million of benefit as a result of this new fully pass-through and transparent PBM contract as offered by Cigna. My personal experience and exposure across the country, working with institutions just like yourself, as well as employers and otherwise, this is the direction that many of the clients that we serve are heading because of these very, very challenging headwinds that most folks are facing today with rising healthcare costs. Federal, state, and local regulations are moving towards this concept of increased transparency and an abundance of disclosure. So the contract that was struck and that will go into effect as of 2026 not only will prove to be 25% better than what you have in place today, it will also result in a cost savings of approximately $7 million to the county, the employees, and their families. This is really important for a couple reasons, and one that I'd like to illustrate in particular is how this hits the pocketbooks of your employees as well as their family members. When a member goes to the pharmacy, one of the things that they're going to, in a sense, use at the counter is their pharmacy card, the insurance that you all provide to your employees. The contract that you all are striking in this case is very much a benefit for the county as well as the employee. Every bit of preferred discount and pass-through value that is achieved in this new agreement will meet that member at the point of sale in being able to leverage and reduce their exposure in many cases in contrast to what we have in place today. So from my independent perspective and point of view, based on all of the evidence and the data that we reviewed in this process, it's very clear to us that this new 2026 contract absolutely meets and exceeds the standard of increased value. It positions Hillsborough County in a solid way to, in a sense, kind of be where the puck is going or skating to where the puck is going to be in terms of policy, health policy at a federal, state, local level, and help you be well prepared to, in a sense, adjust for the winds of change that are forthcoming for all Americans. Nick?
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time?
I think so. Commissioner Wollstrom.
Mine are less of questions and comments because I really didn't get into it during the renewal of the insurance, just because we all knew that we had to renew our insurance policy for all of the employees. I spent a great deal of time on this item, and I'm very appreciative of the board's support to make the motion to require the county to go through this exercise. And I would just say that when I was pretty surprised during the renewal contract. I'm assuming it might have been a person from the consulting group or the provider themselves, but they came to the podium and they said that all of the information I said was brand new to them. And I was very surprised by that because I actually took the time to walk them through a full presentation of everything that I was going to say to the T, because I had real concerns about the massive upcharges that were pretty clear to me that I presented. An immediate reaction during that meeting of me showing them all of these savings that I thought could be there, the number I said that I believed could be found to save in this annual RX program was $7 to $10 million. And the representative scoffed at that. I don't see them in the crowd today, which is fine, but today we see that is about the amount of savings. I don't think that we're all the way there. I think that there's one more avenue that staff needs to continue to explore. I have given them that information as we go down this road. And I still continue to sit on the extreme concerns of the fact that the healthcare provider in this case still owns the PBM that all of this is going to go through there. It seems like that to me, seems like conflicts of interest, monopolization of the industry. And the biggest thing is that this is not only us protecting the taxpayers' dollars on these annual savings, this is our employees' money because this is a self-fund insurance account. And that's what I think is really important here, is that we continue to protect the employees and the taxpayers through this exercise. And I can't wait to see where it goes as a final result. So thank you very much, Ivy, for all your hard work on this.
Commissioner Bowles?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to get this information and agree that we need to be as responsible as we can with certainly our tax dollars and our employees. I've dealt with a lot of them over the years with their benefits, and they're kind of sticklers in some regard to that. You probably know what I'm talking about, Ivy. But I really do feel that, and I'm going to say finding $7 million or creating this benefit will be great. And certainly as we move forward, we're going to continue to increase, hopefully. And if there's other options, that we certainly should be exploring those. I think if I recall correctly, with my motion, I asked for a 6-month renewal on this. I would probably say that it may be more beneficial rather than getting into the weeds of 6 months telling us, oh, you saved $7 million again, or whatever it may be, that we look at a year's worth of data after we get the actual pricing in. However, I would like to have, not necessarily this deep dive, but if we can, doesn't need to be a motion or anything, but outside of amending my motion to go to 2027 with a follow-up report, keep us updated if there's some anomalies, if there's some spikes. I'm sure Commissioner Whistle will be also providing some feedback to Human Resources with this, but I think it's important that we keep our eye on this and that we protect our employees as well as our taxpayer dollars. Thank you. Excellent comments. Can we have a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Wostel.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you. We did like that hockey reference, although it's a little raw.
I was going to say something about that. It was a great analogy, but not too happy with last night's outcome.
Right.
All right.
Just future discussion items is all that remains.
All right. Do we have any issues? Commissioner Cohen?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to take a moment of personal privilege to remark on the passing of former Chief Judge Dennis Alvarez. Judge Alvarez died this past week, and he served as Chief Judge of this circuit from 1988 to 2001. And he was enormously effective and respected during that time. He performed countless good works in the years after his retirement. But he was really a very memorable figure, and among other things, it was the construction of the Edgecombe Courthouse that took place with him and the board that was serving at that time. He swore me into the bar when I was first became a lawyer, so I remember him very fondly. We are going to be sending his family a memorial proclamation, but I wanted to just make sure and mark his passing today at this meeting and send his family our condolences.
Well said. Good man. I don't see anyone else, so we're adjourned.